guys, what's up? It's Joe, ready from Rainey's Rise. We're back here at Clearwater Toyota, and guess what? I have that mid-size truck that has been a staple in Toyota's lineup for years. It's this vehicle right here. This is that redesigned 2025 Toyota Tacoma. This particular one is an SR5 trim. But before we get into this metallic silver mid-size pickup truck, let's talk about what's going on here. So yes, you heard correctly, Tacoma, the taco, it's synonymous with Toyota. And what's fascinating is out of all the states in the United States of America, the one where they have the most Toyota Tacomas that are registered is Hawaii. It's incredible to even think that that's where they're located. But you know what? The Tacoma is still in their lineup, and it's still fighting a very big battle against a lot of competition. The Ford Ranger, the Nissan Frontier, the Colorado from Chevy, the Canyon from GMC. The list goes on and on and on. The good news though is that the Tacoma is still here, but there's also changes. Well, it may not be the best of news because one thing that is gone is the V6. Now in this mid-size truck segment, prices could get pretty high, especially if you look at something like a Toyota TRD Pro Tacoma. That is in the mid $60,000 range. What I want to find out though is if you're looking for an affordable mid-size truck, is this SR5 the best way to go? Let's go ahead, let's dive into ours and find out. Now, of course, the base trim for the Tacoma is the SR. So you could actually go one trim lower than this one. But I feel like the SR5 gives you some good value. Now at the front of the business, you're gonna get LED headlights. So you have your LED headlights, and then you do have LED daytime running lamps. The zonk on the Tacoma is, I hate the way that they give you fake vents. Make these functional. So that is a zonk, but they do give you functional corner air curtains in the actual flared fender, which is kind of interesting. And what I like about the SR5 is that the fenders are painted body color. Gives it a nice muscular look. Now, as we drop on down, you'll notice we have LED fog lamps. And this big air dam is removable if you choose to take it off. It's gonna help with MPGs on the highway if you're doing a lot of highway driving. Now, with the SR5, you're gonna get a flat black grille, totally fine, fully functional, with that Toyota badge in the center. Working our way down, more functionality in the midsection, flat black, and then everything else is flat black underneath. If you take off that air dam, you actually have a pretty good approach angle. This SR5 happens to also be four-wheel drive. You can get a rear-wheel drive SR5, two-wheel, or you could go 4x4. This one is a 4x4. But you have a nice approach angle at the front. But let me know what you think about the face of the Tacoma. I really think they got the style down perfectly, especially compared to some of the competition. Now, as we rise up, hood's looking good, nice clean indentations. The silver really highlights the body lines. And when we come around the bend, what other option that this SR5 has are these TRD wheels, 18-inch wheel. Love the style of them. Tires are 265 on the width, 65 series sidewall. And then I'm gonna have Steven kind of zoom in, show you the updated suspension, your upper control arm, your springs, and there's that box frame. That's what makes the Tacoma different than the Ridgeline. If you go Honda Ridgeline, a lot of people don't even consider that a truck because it uses an SUV modular chassis. This is the TNGA F chassis, which the 4Runner uses, the Land Cruiser, and this Tacoma. But let me know what you think about I love the silver with the wheels. Looks great, flat black. Coming down the side, you do get painted side mirrors. On an SR, which is the base, these would just be flat black. Overall dimensions, mid-size truck seems to be the sweet spot. You could park them in your garage with no problem. You could park them in a tight lot with no problem compared to a full size. You do get color matched door handles like the Tacoma name on the side, clean, simple, and then lots of ground clearance in the center. Of course, at the back of the cab, we have the SR5 badge, and then we have that composite rear bed. Won't rust, won't dent, won't corrode. Working our way towards the rear, Steven's gonna swing around. Love the way they did the flared fenders up front and on the rear. And then the back, nice clean tailgate. Nothing fancy, it's not like a stepping tailgate or storage. It's just a tailgate, that's it. You got your 4x4 badge. Like I said, this one has the optional 4x4. LED lighting for the taillights, which is clean. And then working our way down to ground level, you can see you have your tow hookup. The spare is mounted nice and high out of the way, and you have your side exit exhaust on the driver's side. Gonna drop the rear tailgate. It's not soft releasing, so you have to make sure you hold it, bring it down nice and strong. LED lighting with a bed liner. Love to see that. But why don't we go ahead, let's get to the big talking point. Let's pop the hood and talk power plant of this Tacoma. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do have a prop rod. Underneath the hood is a spaghetti squash mess of wires, hoses. You can see your ignition modules up top, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, of course, that is that new power plant. What is it? It's an inline-4, 2.4 liter turbocharged engine. You're looking at 278 horsepower, 317 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission, 0 to 60 in about 7 seconds. Top speed is governed to 106 miles an hour. The truck weighs 4,461 pounds. MPGs, 20 in the city, 24 on the highway. It could tow up to 6,500 pounds and has a payload capacity of 1,705 pounds. So, like I said, gone is the V6. You are left with a 4-cylinder turbo and, of course, the iForce Max, which is the 4-cylinder turbo paired with a hybrid motor setup. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire up this Taco and see if we like the way it tastes. All right, guys, we're inside this 2025 Toyota Tacoma SR5 trim with the optional 4x4. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I need a new truck. I don't want a full-size truck. I want a smaller truck. I need to look at price, but I also don't want to give up. Like, I don't want to just drive a frame with 4 wheels. Like, I need a little bit of goodies at a good price. How much is this? So, starting price for a Tacoma, you're looking at $36,200. This one with the optional wheels and it being an SR5 and the 4x4 has an MSRP of $44,000. But let's see what you get for the money. To the door panels. Clean, simple design. I do have to zonk the hard black plastic up top. That should be soft touch, but the saving grace is you do have soft touch on the armrest, and then you do have that 10 Twinkie tray holder in the center. Down below is where you're going to put your 3 bottles. Maybe get yourself some Welch's grape soda, some Barks root beer, and some Surge to wash everything down. Now, going from the door panel to the dash, you got another Twinkie tray here for the baker's dozen of Twinkies. That's 13 golden brown delicious snacks. Like the way they put the Tacoma name there. Slide on in. You have your standard 8-inch infotainment system. Now, the good news is that it does have things like Sirius XM. Whoa! Sound is not supposed to be on, even though I do like the song Obsession, because I am obsessed with cars. Anyways, Sirius XM, obviously, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. You can pull up your trim information, and you can set up your different driver profiles if you're going to let other people drive your Tacoma. I'm going to throw it in reverse, backup camera, clear as day, nice trajectory, and it fills up all 8 inches. Start stop button, easy access, baby. You have your Standard climate controls, blower fan, and temperature. I like the way they put a little truck as your little image there for the recirculation of the air. You have 2 places to put phones, or you could stand up your payday bars, USB-Cs, another pocket over here for some Snickers, and there's a 12 volt, and you have an oh crap handle for your passenger. This is going to control your 8-speed automatic transmission. Here's your controller for your 4x4, and then you have your tow haul mode and ECT. A lot of fake buttons. I wish they would have just put one big fake button. Why do they have to put individual fake buttons? So I am going to zonk that, but you do have 2 cup holders and a key fob that Noah actually used on the Ark. They brought 2 of these, and this is one of the last 2 still remaining. Rubbermaid on the armrest, not very comfortable. Open it up. You could fill that up with, I would say, easily 10 Capri Suns. I used to love Capri Suns, you know, because when I was in school, usually my mom would get the generic like fruit juice boxes. They were fine, but the cool kids had the Capri Suns. The only problem is, there's just one problem. You better make sure that your straw has a nice sharp point tip to it, because you're not getting any of that juice if you don't. It's just not gonna work. Seats, they are cloth, a little bit of a design going on. Manual adjustments for the passenger and manual adjustments for the driver. What's interesting is I actually have electric lower lumbar. It's a nice touch. But why don't you come over here to the business end? I want to show you behind the wheel of this SR5 Tacoma. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. Like I said, you got your manual seat controls. They're easy to figure out, which is nice, but you have electric lower lumbar. Thank you, Toyota, for doing that. I'm 6 feet tall, plenty of room in this midsize truck. Steering wheel, you know, it's the Rubbermaid kind, but they did a damn good job making it look like vinyl or leather. So I'm gonna let it slide at this price point. You do have flat black on the switchgear. It is a manual tilting and telescoping wheel. And then you have that 7-inch digital display that you could scroll through different information, and you have a digital bar display for fuel and for your coolant temperature, of course. But why don't we go ahead? We talked about what's going on up front. Let's get in the back seat and see if there's enough room to get it on in this Tacoma. All right, guys, back seat time. And I'm sorry, but if anybody tells you that midsize trucks have plenty of room in the back seat, they're lying. I mean, it's on the tighter side. The only way to get a lot of room is to go get yourself a Honda Ridgeline. That's about it. But it's still not bad. You're sitting very upright. I'm not touching the headliner, but you're kind of like, this is how like my dad wanted me to sit when I was a kid. So I'm kind of having some flashbacks. But you do have 2 cup holders, and they give you a 12 volt, which is at least nice. I do like the fact that you have a large pocket here, and you could fill this up with some waffles. That's another thing. Growing up, being the oldest of 6 kids, one of my biggest pet peeves is when I would open up the freezer to get some Eggos, and the box, I could see it, and I would dive in with my hand, and then as soon as you grab it, you find out it's empty. Somebody put an empty box of Eggo waffles back in the freezer. My brothers and sisters used to do it all the time. I wanted to kill them. Sitting here though, feels good. No center armrest, but you do have storage underneath. You could put your Eggos, Lego my freaking Eggo, and put it underneath there. But let's go ahead. Let's go for a drive and see how this SR5 handles. All right, guys, we're inside this 2025 Toyota Tacoma SR5. Even though it's a 4x4, I have it in 2 high, which makes it rear-wheel drive, obviously because we're on the road. And right away, I love the interior. The way they redesigned the interior leaps and bounds over what you would find in the previous generation of Tacoma. Remember, the previous generation of Tacoma, the first year of that generation was 2016. So it was around for almost 10 years. Lots of changes since then. Now, even though you just have an 8-inch infotainment system screen, don't be shy. It's easy to reach out and touch, so you don't have to worry about that. AC control is very simple. You You just have your temperature and your blower fan. And the seats, they got perfect. Seats in this SR5 are absolutely perfect. Visibility up the front is great. Out back with the solid window, looks fantastic. And what you're gonna find is that the 8-speed automatic is actually paired super well with this 2.4 liter turbocharged engine. The Tacoma rides better, it drives better, and some would say it looks better, which I do love the look of it. But from behind the wheel, the suspension tuning is great. Visibility, like I said, is fantastic. And just everything is well organized in here. I really feel like it has a Tacoma thing to it, a quality that as soon as you get in, you know you're in a Toyota Tacoma in a good way. No matter if it's this generation, previous generation, it has that Toyota feel that you want. Very solid. Steering feels good. The seats, though, are really what makes it. The seats are excellent in here. Some brands still having trouble trying to figure that one out. Let's go on throttle, shall we? On throttle, here we go. Little chirping tire there. The good news is that there's not a bunch of turbo lag, which is nice. But I know for a lot of people, it's still a little sketchy going turbocharged. But I think Toyota is gonna prove that the reliability will be there. I mean, they're not just gonna sell cars that don't have that kind of reliability. But they definitely also don't sell cars and trucks that aren't well laid out. Having the connectivity, the USB-Cs, all of the storage areas for your Twinkies, and just a very good truck to drive. Now, with that being said, it does ride like a truck. So if you're looking for a car-like experience, you gotta go Honda Ridgeline, because the Tacoma still rides like a truck, but it's better than the previous gen. It's not as bouncy, and definitely very, very well connected to the ground with the suspension. Because remember, the whole point of suspension, the shock absorbers, is to push the tires down, not hold the truck up. And with those being better tuned, it just pushes the four corners of this truck down very, very well. Not a ton of road noise, which is nice, so I think there's a good compromise with the type of tires that are on this particular Tacoma, so you're not getting a bunch of road noise. And like I said, everything else just really comfortable in here. But if you're looking for a truck that isn't gonna break the bank, but also gives you some features, I think the SR5 brings a lot of goodies, especially if you need to add 4x4. Let's go on throttle. On throttle, here we go. 8-speed drops down, we're off. Smooth shifts from the 8-speed automatic. And like I said, they're just so well paired together between the 4-cylinder turbo and this and the 8-speed. Yeah, not a ton of road noise, which is actually quite surprising. And I love the way the silver looks on the truck, especially with the flat black wheels. But I'm hoping that this has been a good overall quick review of this Tacoma SR5. We're gonna get back to where it all started and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, another great day here at Clearwater Toyota. Definitely got to thank Chris and the rest of the crew getting us access to this 2025 SR5 trim of the Tacoma. Let me know what you think. Most affordable truck out of all the midsize? Let me know in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raise Rise family. Gotta get up to Flood, man. Stephen Flood, he's working out. He's trying to cut weight and just be shredded like shredded wheat. So thank you, Stephen, for all the shredding. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.